Hello, today I thought I'd film like my guide to bar, spa, university, like halls, accommodation, that kind of thing, because I feel like there's literally not this type of video on YouTube. I just searched it and like even my room tour from like 4 years ago comes up still, which I just find crazy. That's like my most viewed video on this channel. I do get a lot of people in my DMs asking what is the best place to live at bar, spa, and like all sorts of things like that, so I thought I'd just make a video about it. I did do a video similar to this like last summer, mainly about like freshers at bar, spa, so I spoke a little bit about accommodation then, but it was quite a long video, so I thought I'd just do one focus primarily on like accommodation, because I think it's around this time you start selecting where you're going to live. Honestly, I can't remember, I said it was like 4 years ago for me, but yeah, I thought I'd just talk you through it. I hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Talk about all the different types of accommodation at bar, spa. This isn't like sponsored or anything, just me trying to be helpful. So yeah, I'll talk about the ones where I have lived personally first, because I've lived in two types of, well, I lived in Green Park twice, and then I lived on campus once, and like I would usually be in a student house right now, but due to the pandemic I'm at home. But there is obviously other accommodation at bar, spa, so obviously I can't really talk about what it's like living there if I haven't lived there, but there is two I can definitely talk about that. So yeah, I'm going to talk about where I lived in first year, and I lived on campus in Lakeside Sydney halls. So what that means is basically bar, spa is on 3 different campuses, like at undergraduate anyway. So there is Newton Park, which is kind of the main one, it's the biggest one, it has like most courses on it apart from the arty ones. So yeah, there is Newton Park, which is where I lived in my first year. So on Newton Park there is, and also I think Newton Park is the only one with accommodation on it, the other two don't have accommodation like on the campus. So yeah, as I said, Newton Park, it kind of has 2 different areas. So at the bottom of campus you've got Lakeside, which as I said is where I lived, and then at the top of campus you've got gardens. I'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, I thought I'll talk about Lakeside first. So Lakeside is mainly your shared accommodation, your cheaper accommodation, and there is one building which has got en-suites in it, which is where I lived. So at the time it was definitely the cheapest en-suite option. I don't know whether that's changed now, so it was like 4 years ago. But yeah, as I said, I lived in Sydney House, which was all en-suites, and the building was made up of like flats of 8 and flats of 12. I lived in a flat of 12 people, and I personally really liked it. As I said, I think 'cause there was so many of us, like you could definitely find someone you would get along with, and like as a whole the building wasn't really social. Like as I said, I'll talk about this later, but in my other halls it was probably a bit more social, but like the people I met were really friendly. Like I did make friends from another flat. Yeah, so when you go into, you'll find this when you go to uni halls, like you usually gotta like tap your key card against the like card reader to get into the building, and then in Sydney anyway you have to tap your key card. You also use it as student ID as well. So you use it to get in the building, then you use it to get into your kitchen and into your like bedroom, but the actual door to your flat like has no lock on it, so anyone in the building can go down your halls but they can't get into your room or your kitchen, which was a bit weird, but anyway. But yeah, the actual room, so all the rooms in Sydney are like single beds, but the actual bedroom is quite big. You can definitely fit a double bed in there, but they just didn't have them. The bed was really uncomfortable, I won't lie, so I put 2 mattress toppers on mine because it was that horrendous. Yeah, so it had like fuzzy blue carpet, which to be honest, if you put a rug on it you won't really notice it. But it had a really like nice long desk. I'll link my room tour video down below, as I said, if you want to see what it looked like. So yeah, it had like a really long desk along the window, so like as I said, I had enough room to do my makeup, to do work, and like anything else I wanted to do. And it had like sort of 3 shelves to put my alcohol on. And to be fair, where my room was, it overlooked the lake. That's why it's called Lakeside, because like if you're like on the sort of, I think it's on the south facing side, I don't know, but basically one side of all these buildings, like it faces over the lake on campus, which is really pretty. But then obviously if you're on the other side of the building you kind of face the car park. But there's still quite a lot of fields around, so it's still quite a nice view. So yeah, as I was on the side that faced the lake, which was really nice to wake up to. Yeah, so the room itself was really big. It's probably bigger than what I've seen of other student accommodation. And it had like 3 wardrobes. I had like 3 wardrobes in my room as well, so I was really lucky. A lot bigger, although I'm sure my friend Eve won't mind me saying, but the rooms in all our flats were slightly different sizes and layouts, because like I said, I had quite a big room and like I still paid the same, whereas my friend Eve, who as I said paid the same as me, her room was like half the size of mine, and like it was literally like her bed, her desk and her like wardrobe, like it all took up so much space, and then obviously the ensuite. Whereas in mine I literally had like a little hallway going in, like I had the wardrobe here, and then you turn right into my room, which is like quite a big square room, like it was probably the same size as my room here, to be honest. And then like I said, if you came through the door, in front of you was the ensuite. The ensuite's bit questionable. Like, you know when you go to a swimming pool and the shower, you basically like press the wall, like you just press like one button on the wall and that is your shower at a swimming pool. That was what my shower was for like a whole year. Yeah, you could not change the temperatures, you couldn't make it go faster or slower, it was just one button, so it was quite basic. I mean, it did the job, like you just kind of got used to it, you would just basically keep your hand on it the whole time and you just got used to showering quicker. There was also blood in my shower, which was not nice, like it was on the ceiling. I was like, I'm not even going to question this. And also when I moved in, I lived in room 108, and it's quite funny because on my room tour video, another girl said, oh, I actually lived in this room after you. I was like, that's mad. So yeah, I lived in room 108 and there was literally penises scratched into the door, like on the outside going into my room. So I remember on the move-in day, the guy helping me move in, he was like, oh, you got the lucky room. I was like, what do you mean? And I looked, I was like, for God's sake, of course it'd be me having like penises on my door. But anyway, yeah, apart from that, everything else was kind of fine. The kitchen itself, again, because there was 12 of us, it was quite big, which I quite liked. Although there definitely wasn't enough seating for all of us. Like you could probably only fit maybe 8 people in there at a time if you're all eating like dinner. Like obviously it's easier for drinks because like you don't need as much space, but like when you're actually sat down eating, it was a bit cramped at times. And then we all sort of had like one assigned cupboard which had our room number on it, which I thought was really good. And then most of us got like another cupboard or 2 each and like a drawer for cutlery. So yeah, that was really good on the whole. As I said, it was like my first year of uni, I was so sociable. Like we had people over for drinks quite a lot, we'd go out for drinks. It's also quite close to the bus stop as well, which I really liked about where my accommodation was, and it's also the closest building to Commons, which is like the main building at Newton Park. So I could literally get out of bed at like 10 to 9 and be at my 9 AM like at 5 to. It was great. So yeah, overall I really liked living in Sydney. I'll try and insert pictures of all these places as well. Yeah, good memories, good times, and as I said, even though it was a bit basic, the actual like facilities, like it's university halls, it's not going to be like a 5-star hotel, so yeah, don't get your hopes up too much. But yeah, as I said, I personally really enjoyed it. The second year came around and I lived in Green Park in a Twodio, which is a 2-bedroom studio flat. And to be fair, I didn't live there long because my mental health got really bad and I dropped out of uni. But I think if you do just want to live with a friend and you want the like security of like university accommodation, Green Park is a good option. It was quite expensive. I think it was like 8 grand for the year, or like the academic year to live there. Whereas my halls in first year were like 6.5, I want to say. As of that probably changed now because it's been like 4 years since then. So yeah, as I lived at Twodio, I didn't love it, just because it was very, very small. Like the bedroom itself was quite big, but the kitchen area was tiny. There was nowhere to sit down. We had to literally wheel our office chairs out and just sit at the counter with them whilst we ate dinner. And there was no like main window in the flat. Like the only windows we had were in our bedrooms, which had locks on them. So as I did, when you go into Green Park, there's a lot more locks. So again, you've got your key card. So you use it to get into Green Park, like to the reception area, because in Sydney House there was no like reception. It was just like you just go upstairs sort of thing, whereas at Green Park it looks more like a hotel. You've got like a reception area, a common room, that kind of thing. So yeah, at Green Park you tap in to get into the building, then tap in to get into your blocks, because Green Park is kind of set out in different blocks. So there's I think it goes from A block to E block, or F, yeah, I think it goes to E block, which is like a staff building, but all the uni students live in like A to D block. So yeah, you, as I said, you go through the reception, then you tap in to get into your building. I lived in C block in both years that I lived there. So you tap in to get into your block, and then you tap in to get into just your flat generally. And then there's also another lock like on your door, but the actual kitchen was like open. But the only people that get into your flat were people who had that flat assigned to them. Like no one else in the building could get into your flat, if you see what I mean, which was quite like secure. That's kind of that really. The actual I just realised I crossed over into like halls then. So yeah, if I go back to the 2-bed studios, as I said, you would tap in to get into your building, then tap in to get into our flat, and I said you can tap in to get into your rooms up, but as I said, it was just annoying to keep tapping in and out of our rooms, so we just kept literally our doors wide open the whole time. As I said, I didn't love it. I felt a little bit isolated up there because there was only like 2 other flats up there who didn't really come out of their rooms, so it was just me and my friend Eve the whole time. So yeah, I won't talk about that too much, but as I said, if you're someone who doesn't want to live in a big flat again, I would recommend Green Park because it does the job. As I said, it's quite a small kitchen, like there's no proper oven. It's literally like a combi oven, so it's mainly a microwave, but you can change the settings, but it doesn't really cook meat properly, so I wouldn't trust it. So we had to do a lot of like dinners you can make on a hob, a lot of curries, that kind of thing, whilst I lived there. So as I said, I dropped out of there, and then I came back to uni in September 2019 and lived in Green Park, but I lived in the halls. So again, I was in C block, I was a couple of floors down, it was on like 4 floors I think, whereas Sydney House was only on like 2 floors. So yeah, I think, so all the studio rooms and 2D rooms are like at the top of Green Park, and then all of the like halls and that are like down below. I think there's like a couple of studios mixed in, but they're mainly like upstairs. So yeah, I lived on upper ground floor when I was in Green Park, in the halls anyway. As I said, so you had to tap in to get into the building, tap in to get into your flat, and then tap in to get into your bedroom, but the kitchen was like unlocked. So yeah, in halls in Green Park they got up to like 6 or 7 people, so as I said, less than Sydney House, but as I said, it was still quite a social flat, and like we were quite lucky as well, the flat next door to us were really sociable as well, so we'd go out with them quite a lot. Like I lived with a mixture of people from that flat next door to me and the people that were in my flat as well, in my student house anyway. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed Green Park, and also with Green Park, it's not on campus, it's in the centre of Bath, so as I said, it's amazing for nights out. You don't have to get the bus or anything, you just walk everywhere because Bath's quite a small city. So that's really one of the best things about Green Park, is how central it is to Bath, and then to get to like university at any of your campuses, you just get the bus, or you can walk. Like you can walk to Locksbrook. Locksbrook is more for the art students, but as I said, you can walk there from Green Park, get the bus if you want to, and then the buses run like every 20 minutes to main campus, which is Newton Park. So yeah, I think most people, if you are based at Locksbrook or Surrey Hill, which is like another art campus, you are mainly put in like Green Park for accommodation, as I said, because the campuses don't have accommodation, and you'll never be at Newton Park if you're an art student. So yeah. What are the other accommodations? So you also have, obviously if you don't know Bath, you won't know where this is, but basically in Bath there's a little bit of like Lidl, Hobbycraft, that kind of, it's like a little retail park. So along from Lidl and like McDonald's, there is like 3 other student accommodations. So there is Charlton, Twerton, and what's the other side? Oh, Waterside I think it's called. Yeah, so there's like 3 sets of like flats. I think Charlton is owned by Unite students, as it is private to the university, but again, if you don't get uni accommodation, they mainly put you there. Again, you can walk into town from there or get the bus. It's kind of like halfway between town and uni, so it's easy and love to live in sort of thing. And you're right next to Lidl as well, which is great for food shopping. As I said, I've never been into these buildings because I've never lived there, but again, I think they're slightly more expensive than like on campus halls, but definitely a little bit cheaper than Green Park, as like, you're not so close to the city. But yeah, again, I think they've got a range of like en-suites, shared, that kind of thing. They're more modern than like the on-campus halls, but not as modern as Green Park, because Green Park was literally only built in like 2016. So yeah. Oh, I completely missed out gardens. So yeah, going back to on-campus, as I said, Lakeside is like down here, and then Gardens is like at the top of campus near the SU and stuff. As I said, I haven't lived in Green Park, so I can't really comment on what it's like to live there. But in Gardens, it's all en suites, I'm pretty sure, and again, it's a lot more modern. It was definitely built a lot later than the Lakeside accommodation was. The flats again are smaller, but you do have double beds in them. I forgot to say as well, in Green Park it's all like small doubles, which is obviously nicer than like a horrible springy single bed. But also in Gardens it is all small doubles as well. But I have noticed in pictures and stuff, like the actual beds take up like the whole room. There's like no floor space in Gardens, whereas in Lakeside, as I said, I had loads of floor space there, and even in Green Park as well with the small double beds, there was like no floor space in my room at all. That's why I never did any studying in my room, because like my desk was just so close to my bed. I was like, no, I feel really claustrophobic in here. But yeah, so in gardens, I think it's about like 6 or 7 people per flat, but the actual kitchens are a lot bigger and like squarer, and the tables are like a lot nicer than like Lakeside was. Again, in Green Park the kitchens are a lot nicer, the facilities are more up to scratch. Like there was one time I lived in Sydney when literally there was like water from the upstairs flat coming down into our kitchen. I was like, oh my god, and like the sinks used to get blocked all the time, and it would, I think the place was just falling apart. Like I do think you need to knock it down and build it again, but as I said, it was just funny at the time. But as I said, gardens is a lot more like nicer looking, more up-to-date facilities, and as I said, you're really close to the Students' Union and like other teaching buildings, so it's probably the slightly better place to live, I'd say. But as I said, like I've never lived there, so I wouldn't know personally. And they do have, I think they do have studio flats there as well, because my friend lived in one this year. But yeah, that is kind of my guide to bath spa accommodation. I hope this helped you in some way. As I said, like when I was like going to bath spa, I didn't know anything really about the accommodation. Like obviously I'd looked around at it, but I didn't know what it was like from a student's perspective. So yeah, I hope this helped. I'll leave links down below for the like university accommodation website for like prices and things. As I said, I know the prices have probably gone up since I like lived there. But yes, please like and subscribe if you did like this video, and I will see you soon.